From the News Channel 8 studios, let's talk live with your hosts, Natasha Barrett and Doug McElway.
Maybe you can look at.
You know what this show is about today? There's a little devil on this shoulder going, eat, it's Thanksgiving, and then there's a little angel on this shoulder saying,
I have two devils. Never an angel.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Oh, two devils?
I have two devils on my shoulder. We're going to talk all about food because, the first holiday movie weekend is almost here. Arch will be back to talk about that.
And, with the season of giving here, we're going to find out how you can help out people who need it most.
And now back to Turkey Talk. People all across the country hitting the grocery stores. Devils both sides. Do you have your turkey? Do you do turkey?
I'm doing turkey at my sister's house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm not doing the turkey myself.
That's the easy way out right there.
I'm doing the pies.
Oh, yeah. I love the pies.
Anyway, it is a gluttonous holiday, and it's really good for your taste buds, but it can be bad news for your waistline. And Mary Perry is a dietitian with Dynamic Nutrition, and I guess you're going to be playing the role of the angel going, don't eat, right?
Well, not exactly. The thing we want to keep in mind is Thanksgiving is kind of like the Super Bowl of eating, and pretty much, according to the Calorie Control Council, the average person eats about 4,500 calories on Thanksgiving.
Wow, and we should be eating how much per day?
Well,
how much per meal?
That's actually about twice what the average person eats in one day. So that's like 2 days worth of eating. But what's really interesting to think about is that about 3,000 calories of that is actually for the main Thanksgiving meal, but another 1,500 is just from snacking throughout the rest of the day, like we're watching football.
You're cooking and while you're doing this, you've got to taste what you're cooking. Come on.
It's just nonstop. I mean, from the nuts and the hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah, and the lists that they have out there, I'm looking at a holiday calorie calculator, which breaks down the calories from if you have a mixed drink or if you have this kind of drink, to salads, to the main course. I mean, it's pretty daunting. You don't want to think about having 480 calories on for a piece of pecan pie.
Well, the calories, it does get a little bit overwhelming, but one thing I think it's really important to keep in mind on Thanksgiving is I like to give my clients a little tip, and I want to share that with you guys as well, is I say about, eat the best, forget about the rest. So what does that mean? Thanksgiving, it is a holiday, so focus on the things that you really love to eat. I know you had mentioned earlier, we were chatting, that you love the pecan pie.
Oh, yeah.
So that's something, you definitely want to enjoy and focus on. So if you kind of think of your calories almost like money, and of course in this economy it's a little bit tough today, so we all have to kind of be careful with our money. But if you spend those calorie funds on things that you really love to eat, then you're really going to be enjoying what you're eating.
Makes sense, but it sounds like you need a whole lot of discipline, and I think a lot of people, we probably all do this. You eat and you say, oh, just today. I mean, I've already wrecked it for breakfast. Tomorrow I'll get back to it. So what's the big deal if I'm going to go 4,000 calories one day if I'm going to be okay tomorrow? Is it that we don't do that?
Well, I think the thing is all about balance and consistency. So that's the thing is, indulging one day for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is one day out of the year. So if you're just indulging, on a holiday here and there, it's not really the issue, but it's just, are you being consistent? Do you have a good, healthy foundation?
Right. One of the things I've done in Thanksgiving's past is basically starve myself, fast myself through the day.
For that big meal.
A tiny little breakfast or something like that, and then just so I can, have this gigantic hollow space that I can pig out in the afternoon. But that, I realize that's not a good strategy either, is it?
Now, a lot of times, we think, if we can save a little bit of calories, that's going to help us later. Well, then what happens is when we go into that Thanksgiving meal and we're starving, everything tastes delicious, everything is that much more wonderful. And then when you're really hungry when you're eating, a lot of times you tend to eat a larger serving because
you don't know when you're full.
Exactly. You're eating very quickly. And that kind of reminds me of another little tip that, when we think of Thanksgiving, we have all these great dishes. So this is another tip. I think of the word POTS. And for me, POTS stands for pause, observe, taste, and savor. Okay, so that's a little trick to keep in the back of your mind. So when you start your meal, go ahead, look at all that wonderful food on your plate. Just kind of pause and look at it. Check in with yourself. Say, okay, how hungry am I? And also just say, oh, the food looks great. And then when you go ahead, taste and savor it. So that's like a little reminder. Slow down. Really enjoy your food. Taste it. Because really, when you really are more mindful and really focused on what you're doing and take it in, a lot of times you actually will have a smaller portion and be just as satisfied.
Yeah, our eyes are bigger than our stomachs. When you see that spread right there, you just want it all.
Your brain it takes a while for your brain to react to the sensation of being full. So if you just stuff your pie hole, so to speak, you're gonna keep stuffing it, and the brain's not gonna tell you you're full yet until after you're way overdone. Then your brain's gonna go, oh.
Absolutely. You know, it takes about 20 minutes for those signals to go from our stomach to our brain, saying, "Hey, I'm full." So when we eat very quickly, and especially if we haven't had a good breakfast and are very hungry, we're going to eat that larger portion, and then about 10 minutes later, you're like, "Oh my gosh!"
Then you feel it. You're starving yourself for that meal. Let's get to, before we go, leftovers. Everybody thinks you have the turkey. It's going to last. Tomorrow we'll do sandwiches. Tomorrow this. I have to eat what's in the fridge, right? Look at this. One turkey sandwich with some cranberry sauce, 450 calories. Another sandwich, some 300 calories. And of course, you can't ignore the desserts they're looking at. You don't want them to go bad. And you know, that's another 400 calories for a piece of apple pie. Bad?
Well, you know, it goes back to being about balance. So, you know, if you overindulge a little bit on Thanksgiving, the big thing is to try to get back into your routine as quickly as possible. And even if you're kind of finishing up those leftovers for the next few days, you know, don't beat yourself up. As I said, try to slow down, really enjoy what you're eating.
Maybe take a walk.
Take a walk
with a turkey sandwich. Balance it all out.
Go to the mall, you know, get your holiday shopping, burn off some calories.
Right.
You know, and again, just get back to being consistent and day-to-day eating.
And I'm going to try really, really hard to listen to what you've said today.
Those tips. Mary, thanks for coming on, and happy Thanksgiving.
So much. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Mary.
Write those tips down, Doug.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll do any good, but I'll write them down.
Also on the show today, feeding hundreds of people with your help right here where you live.
And the holiday box office is gearing up for a good fight to be the top spot this week. Archer is going to be here to tell us about that.
Plus, one of the most prominent Catholic families in the country is feuding with the church. We'll tell you why Patrick Kennedy was refused part of his faith.
And we're going to meet Susan Delbert. We're going to talk with her about how she plans on changing the way the city eats through her new position at the National Press Club.
All about food today. And how you can drop the pounds you are probably going to pack on this week.
And if you're on Facebook, join our fan page. And if you'd like more of Let's Talk Live, just go to our website. We'll be back with more right after this.